Good morning, everybody. Jim Feist with Dave Koken in Las Vegas. Dave, it's nice to get a couple days off, sort of off. We don't really ever take off because we're always working. Our minds are always going, looking for angles and stuff. But it was nice to get a couple days of minimal relaxation, wasn't it?
Oh, they were days off today. I mean, it wasn't much. There was, I didn't do anything on Monday or Tuesday, so I got back to one game yesterday and I lost that actually. But no, I put the books away for a few days, and I think you gotta do that every once in a while. You burn out.
Well, it's easy to burn out when you go 365 days a year. Well, years ago I used to take the baseball season off and play poker all summer. I don't do that anymore. I've been doing pretty well in baseball, and I know you have never taken the baseball season off because that's one of your favorite sports.
Yeah, it was coming off a weird season too because the first half of last baseball season was absolutely incredible, and in the second half I just did not win a game. So I ended up having a very ordinary season, but it was just peculiar because it built up a huge bankroll and then did not close out a game, and that's going to happen sometimes. But it's been really good the last few months. I have no complaints. I've had a good NFL season. I've had a very good college football season. NHL's been outstanding, and the college basketball's got warm recently. I've won my last 5 best bets, so I'm pretty happy with that. And one thing that I'll mention is for me, I'm not saying that this is the case for anybody else, but for me, one of the best decisions I made was that I was not going to do the NBA regular season. I'll get involved in the playoffs, but I don't like the way the league treats regular season, and I just decided to stay out of it. I know that some people doing really well with it, but what this did for me was freed up a lot of time, not only from the handicapping standpoint, but also doing what we do, which is selling picks. You have to do write-ups in these games, and it takes a lot of time. And so I decided that in order to hopefully strengthen my other sports, that I think I'm better at anyway, I would drop the NBA from my rundowns, and that's been a good decision so far.
Well, I haven't done exactly the same because I'm still doing some NBA. Yesterday I had 2 selections. They both won. I had the Spurs and the Mavs. But I'm very, very selective, extremely selective. So I look at the games every day, but I have no intention of going out on a limb because I really try to get in tune with what the coaches are doing. Because in the old days when the Larry Birds and the Magic Johnsons would play every one of the 82 regular season games, those days are gone. These guys now, they're resting, they're looking towards the playoffs. They really don't care if they're the number 1 seed or the number 8 seed. As long as they're in the playoffs, they're happy. A couple years ago, you had Steve Kerr foolishly going for the record in the regular season. He tired his team out, and that's the year they lost to the Cavaliers.
That's right. They had 4 straight championships otherwise.
Right.
That was the blueprint for every team in the league now. It's like, let's just get to the playoffs. Golden State was not the number 1 seed last year in the West. I don't think it made much difference. That's why it kind of cracks me up. And people are making this big deal about the Lakers going in and knocking them around the other night. I got to tell you, I don't think anybody in the Warriors is worried.
I'm not going to knock the media. I am and I'm not. Let's just put it this way, because some of the things they say are very foolish, and that's one of them. It really doesn't make a difference. I mean, like the NFL a couple of years ago, they were saying, "Oh, the running backs are dead; they don't matter anymore. All you need is a good quarterback." Well, it doesn't. Look at the teams that are in contention now and what they're doing and how they're winning. They have a strong running game. They got at least a decent, if not great, offensive line, and an adequate quarterback. I mean, hell, the Ravens have a quarterback that doesn't throw the ball accurately at all. but still they're winning because they can run the ball. So, the media gets caught up in a scenario when they really, well, first of all, it's not their job to dig in as much as it is for us because we make our living betting this stuff. So I don't blame them for that, but they get caught up in scenarios and they mislead the public. And not intentionally, it's just what they do and how it works out. But we got, I have an interesting question for you and I want to get your opinion. If you look at all the teams that are in the playoffs or potentially in the playoffs, there's a few teams that are undecided right now in the NFL. To me, there are no exceptional teams. There's nobody that just stands out as being that much better than others, than some of the others. So it's really, you could throw a kind of a blanket over several of them, and in that scenario, and I'm going to give out a free play here in a second, I feel that there are some prices on some of these teams that can give you some great value. You may not win the bet, but the value is exceptional. I made a $3,000 bet on a team to win the Western Division and to win the Super Bowl. Do I think I'm going to win it? No. But I have 33 to 1 on that bet. And I bet the Seahawks. They have a strong running game. They got a head coach that's been to 2 Super Bowls, won one of them, and should have won 2. They have a quarterback that's as good as anybody in the league, in my opinion. I don't think there's any quarterback in the league any better than Russell Wilson. I think there's others that are equal to him, but he has a skill set and a good mind, a strong mind. He works hard, and he's gotten it done a number of times. For 33 to 1, are you giving me who is that much better in the West that you could absolutely say they can't beat them?
Well, you look at what looks like a path. Would you mind having 33 to 1 with a team that has a very good chance to be at least in the final 8? Because I think Seattle, they can go into Dallas and win that game. So, in fact, I think Dallas is fairly be favored, to be honest with you. So, from a value standpoint, that's pretty good.
I thought so. That's why I grabbed it. I like Dak Prescott. I like what some of the things the Dallas team did this year.
Yeah,
they're not a bad team. They can win. But there's a lot of kind of equal teams that are on any given day. But when I look at the head coach, Carroll versus Garrett, in the big game, in the big stage, on the big stage, when I look at Russell Wilson versus Dak Prescott, when I look at the running game, now they got a 3-headed monster at running back for Seattle. Dallas runs the ball very well too, and Dak can run the ball. But when you look at the wide receivers, Lockett and Baldwin, you got guys that have been there before and know how to win. I feel that they can win that game, and who knows what the odds will be when it comes out, but line-wise. But at 33 to 1, I thought it was a steal. Win or lose, I think it's a steal.
Yeah, that's the key as far as futures are concerned. If you want the best team, probably the Saints. I think they're a little better than the rest, and they're going to have home field for the NFC, which is really big for them because they just don't lose at home. But you're not getting any value at that price.
No, you're not. And when you say they don't lose at home, they have really, let's talk about that too, because back in September and October, there were several teams in the NFL that had peaked. The Saints were one, the Chiefs were another, the Rams were another, and each and every one of those teams have hit the skids a little bit. They haven't done as well against the spreads. They're not scoring as much on offense. Defenses have learned how to slow them down. They've learned how to key on. Now, the Saints tried to make a big move when they tried to bring in Des Bryant, and of course he got hurt and it didn't work. And they did that for a reason. They didn't have enough balance in the wide receiver department to take some of the heat off Thomas. And in the last few games, teams are keying on him and slowing down what Breeze can do, because his main target is now being taken away, so they've had to adjust. They have a two-headed monster at running back, which is great. They are. I mean, in the beginning of the year, I bet them to win the Super Bowl, so I'm not faulting them, but I do see a decline. And quite frankly, last week against Pittsburgh, you can make an argument that Pittsburgh should have beat them.
Listen, it's not that pass interference penalty on Pittsburgh, which was really a key play in the game.
Yes.
And that was an awful, absolutely awful call. If it's not for that, the Steelers might very well have won that football game. And that brings up another issue, which is officials not only deciding games, potentially deciding to the playoffs. I mean, if you're a Steelers fan right now, your team's probably not going to make the playoffs. I don't think Baltimore's losing to Cleveland. So the Steelers are going to be left out. And if you're a Steeler fan or a Steeler player, you might have a really bitter taste in your mouth right now. And I can't argue against that feeling. I mean, they got screwed.
They did, but if you go back this whole season, there's been a lot of plays like that, and a lot of bad official calls, missed calls, calls that should have been made that weren't, calls that were made that shouldn't have been. The officiating in the league is horrible. It's just that simple. It's just horrible.
And here's the thing. The league doesn't care.
No, they don't.
They don't care, because the people are going to still show up at the games. The ratings are still going to be strong. The legalized gambling is increasing viewership at a tremendous rate. They don't care.
No, when you're a $14 billion business and everybody just keeps showing up, and they don't care. It's kind of like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, and they're just not going to fix it. It's just the way it is. But we got a lot going on, Dave. I talked to Hank earlier. He's got some big races coming up on the weekend. We've got the NBA that I know you're not doing it. I'm doing it on a spot basis. Then we got the college basketball, which is going to gear up again tomorrow. And then
that gets underway. So
you what? What's that?
Whole new set of parameters now, because this is when it gets serious in college basketball and conference play begins.
Absolutely. All the experimentation that the coaches are doing with lineups and rotations and things like that, and then the game plans. You'll see teams that were running up and down the court start to run some more pattern basketball, and because they're going to be playing teams that know them, and coaches that know them, and they're going to have to do things that might surprise the other guy. It's a chess game. So the things that they were doing very easily are going to be changed.
Well, we'll see how it goes. And meanwhile, we got more college bowls. I just sent you 2 more plays, which will be posted for Friday's action. I'm going to stay out of the Auburn-Purdue game, but I'll be playing the other 2. And doing all right with the bowls so far. Nothing spectacular, but hopefully we're going to get really hot. At least we're in the profit column.
Well, yeah, it's a long season. I tried to give the people a lot of entertainment with the bowls, because it's the end of the season. So I have a lot more plays, percentage-wise, than I would on a normal scale. But I'm focusing on the bigger plays, of course, are the ones that you focus on. I do have a game of the year coming up. By the way, I've been red hot in the NFL. Last 24 plays, I'm 19-5. So, I go on runs like that sometimes. And I remember last year there was one time in college basketball I was 28-3. So I go on these crazy streaks. Never know when they're going to happen. I wish the hell I did. But
I've been doing all right in the NFL myself, and I only have one game this weekend. A lot of these games I'm throwing out. But there is one game that I like quite a bit, and so that'll be on my card for sure.
Well, Dave's plays and mine are up at jimfeist.com. And go there. You can get a lot of good information. You can hear the podcast, pick up our plays, and the way we've been going, you win some money. Anything else, Dave?
Nope, I'm good. Let's go.
All right. Hold on, Dave.